Hi guys, it's been a while since I've done a War Thunder movie, so I figured I'd go ahead and do it. Last night I got to level 16 as Germany, and I unlocked all of the Fw-190 type craft, um, including this thing, the Ta-152. Um, I've used this thing before. Um, that's not the skin I want. Where is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. Yeah, I've used this one, obviously, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't have a skin for it. All the other ones, though, I haven't used a single time. Although, I will do a test battle on this thing, just because what the first part of this video is going to be is mostly just looking at all the stats of the Fw-190 type craft, and I've also used this one too, the Gift Dora, which I bought when I first started playing. I think I told this story in one of my first War Thunder videos, where I basically put it on a lineup with my reserve aircraft, and I was getting into battles with jets, so I was like, wait, what? Why is this happening? What is going on here? Anyway, what ended up happening was, basically that. I got into battles with jets. Anyway, since there aren't, more than 5, things, Fw-190, type aircraft, I ended up putting my Bf-109 G6 in this lineup as well, mostly because it's probably my favorite Bf-109 that I've used so far. I don't have enough money to unlock the K4 yet. I decided to get these because it would just be something kind of new for me. I was going to try and see if I still had enough to get this thing, which I would have if I hadn't trained the crews for these guys. Well, I would have had almost enough. I would have been 10,000 credits away from being able to buy the K4. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats. Also, if there's one thing I've learned from all of the 2 Fw-190s that I've used is none of them turn particularly well. Even at high altitude, they still have a mediocre turn rate. But they all have a retarded roll rate, like, one second. Like this thing. This thing it rolls so fast that it makes me red out. Like, it's actually kind of ridiculous, but yeah. Anyway, let's see. For the A5, it's got a maximum speed of 607 kilometers an hour, which means in historical battles, that is the maximum safe speed for you to be able to pull out of a dive without ripping your wings off. I don't do that many historical battles. When I do, I usually fly in either this thing, my Mustang, or this, my B-17 E late model. Anyway, I've also brought my IL-2s, mostly my IL-2M though, because this thing's really only useful in arcade due to its lack of a rear gunner. Whereas in historical battles, things with extra guns that are AI controlled are actually useful because of the less forgiving damage models. Anyway, yeah, let's look at the stats. I already talked about max speed on height of 6,400 meters, so that means you'll reach that speed quite easily when you're at its optimal operating ceiling. And its max altitude is very, very high. Not as high as most bombers, obviously, even though this thing is like a bomber interceptor, but I've never seen anyone flying a bomber at higher than usually 6,500 feet. Even in historical battles. I don't do full real battles because honestly, my joystick isn't very good. I mean, it's okay, but it's not that great. Anyway, the turn time is 24.1 seconds, which seems like it should be okay, but it's, I don't know. In my experience, these things turn like bricks. The rate of climb isn't that great. It's only 14 meters a second. But I mean, that's actually kind of odd for German planes to have a climb rate that low. Like, this thing has a 20 meters a second climb rate. And then, let's see, what does the Kurt have? It's got a 24 meters a second climb rate. And then the Me-163, I know it's a jet, but it's got like one of those record-breaking climb rates. It's 37 meters a second. And, I mean, with the Ta-152, you're going to be seeing jets and stuff, too. So, I mean, let's see, what's its climb rate? 18 meters a second. So, you know, it's got kind of a mediocre climb rate in comparison to this other stuff you'll be seeing. Anyway, no, wrong one. Its takeoff run is 391 meters, so basically it takes you about 400 meters to travel before you actually get off the ground. It's got 4 armament presets, which I've unlocked all but one of them. It's really just the ability to carry bombs. Oh, I'm actually not that far from being able to carry a 500 kilogram bomb. I've only got 3,688 more XP before I can. That's cool. Its 1 second burst mass is 3.15 kilograms a second, so every second you've got the trigger held down, that's about, yeah, that's about 3 kilograms of bullets flying toward the enemy. And I mean, this plane isn't exactly what I would call heavily armed, but it does the job. It's got 2 MG-17s and 2 20mm cannons. So I mean, you know. Oh, and for a German plane, this thing's cannon ammo capacity is pretty ridiculous. It's got 500 shots for it. For 2 of them. So that's like, what, 250 shots for each cannon? Yeah, you can even see the little bulges for the ammo in the wings. Then for the F8, it's pretty much the same thing, except it's a bit slower at a lower altitude, although you can go higher with it. It's got about the same turn time. It's got a better rate of climb by 2 meters a second, which, I mean, it's not that great. The takeoff run is a lot longer. It's 453 millimeters. It's got 9 sets of guns, though. And even when you're just shooting the stock guns, you've got a slightly higher burst mass. You've got 2 13mm MGs and 2 20s right off the bat. And then you can get... Oh, okay. Wait, what? I'm confused now. Oh, okay. Yeah, this thing is definitely a true fighter bomber because, I mean, you can get up to a 100 kilogram bomb. Although, I think it looks like all of the weapons in each loadout is the same. Yeah, they're all the same. Let's see. Getting a new engine actually won't take that long, assuming you shoot down a lot of people. Or just use the plane wrong and bomb things with it. But yeah, it's it's actually cheap for a level 12 aircraft. Huh. Well, alright. Then for the D-13, which is the gift one, the Dora. It has 3 20mm MGs or cannons on it. It's very fast. Its maximum flight ceiling is only 40 meters above the A5's. Although it reaches its maximum safe speed at a slightly lower altitude than the A5 as well. It's got a better turn time than the A5 and the F8. It's 21.9 seconds. Its rate of climb is better than both. It's got a 17 meters a second one. Its takeoff run is shorter than both. It's 317 meters. It's got 7 armament presets. I didn't know that. Well, that's good to know. Although it's just more bombs. Because, I mean, like I've said before, these things were fighter bombers and bomber interceptors at the same time. Anyway, for the D-12, the Dora 12, this thing has a little bit more firepower. It's got 2 20s and 1 30. Its maximum speed its maximum speed on the height thing is this. It's the exact same thing as the D-13, although its max altitude is the exact same. Well, I mean, they're all Doras, so yeah, they're going to be pretty much the exact same, except this thing's got a bit more damage output and less extra bombs to choose from. Yep. Yeah, it's got less bombs, and none of the cannons change, so nor does the ammo capacity. Anyway, now it's time for this thing. The Ta-152H1. This thing is retardedly fast. It can, on a retardedly high altitude, and its maximum altitude is retardedly high. It flies higher than most bombers, or it can fly higher. Its maximum altitude is 14,800 meters. Its turn time is ridiculous for an Fw-190 type craft. I'll just say 20 seconds. Its rate of climb is 18 meters a second, which, I mean, that's still not that great. Its takeoff run is retardedly short, although it's only got 1 set of guns. You can't even put bombs on it if you actually choose to fly the planes wrong. Its 1 second burst mass it's a pretty heavy payload. It's 6.39 kilograms a second. Oh, excuse me. Well, I mean, this thing's a Fw-190, so I mean, it's obviously going to be completely loaded down with guns. It's got an 11.94 kilograms a second 1 second burst mass. It's just got so many guns on it. Let's see. Yeah, the ME-262's volume of fire is only slightly higher. It's only 14.52. And then let's look at the other jets as well. This thing's only got 650 caliber machine guns. So it's obviously going to be a fairly low damage output from this thing. It's 5.17 kilograms a second. Let's look at the MiGs. All the jets, actually. So, yeah, I mean, I've heard this thing isn't much to behold or fight or really even look at. Yeah, it's only got a 2 kilograms a second burst mass, and it's only got one 23 millimeter cannon with 60 shots. But then again, it is a starter jet, so that's not really that surprising for it to be badly armed. This thing is a little bit better armed, the Yak-15 regular one instead of the prototype. It's got 2 23 millimeter cannons, although its burst mass is still ridiculously low. Let's look at the MiGs now. 8.83 kilograms a second. This thing has two 23 millimeters and one 37. That's for the MiG-9. And now for the MiG-9 late variant. It's the same exact thing. Then for the MiG-15, 10.80 kilograms a second. It's got pretty much the same ammo, or the same gun loadout as the MiG-9s, except it's got a slightly different 23 millimeter cannon. As opposed to the NR-23K that the MiG-9s have, it has a regular NR-23. And has 23 for the... Wait. Oh, I'm reading things wrong. It's just got a completely different gun loadout. Okay. But yeah, it's got more firepower than the top MiG-15. Then for the Meteors, which I hate, 6.46 kilograms, 6.46, 6.46, 6.46. Okay, yeah, they pretty much got all the same thing. KI-200. What even is their level 20? I could have sworn I saw that they had a level 20 a couple patches back. Did they remove it? Because now all they've got is a level 17. Oh, I don't know. This thing's still got 30 millimeter cannons on it, but it's got less. It only has a burst mass of 5.06 kilograms a second. So, yes. This thing right here, it has a retarded amount of guns on it. And, well, that's probably why Eric Hartman liked it so much. In fact, what I really want for this plane is a skin that turns it into Eric Hartman's. With the nose art that was called the Black Lotus. Anyway, yeah, let's do test flights in these things to try and get a feel of how they'll perform. I already know how this thing will perform, but may as well show it anyway. And I'm gonna do it in arcade battles because I don't usually play historical, so. Especially not in German planes because of their retardedly low ammo capacities. So anyway. I am drinking a 40, or no, not 40 ounce, a 20 ounce Red Bull. Yeah, 40 ounce. I'm not that much of a caffeine junkie. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Takeoff flaps. Okay. You know, I would check and see if my flaps are working right, but I don't need to because this isn't full real battles. Yes, as you can see, this thing has a fairly short takeoff run. Raise the flaps. I'm gonna gain a little bit of altitude before I actually go and attack that thing. And this is actually kind of one of those medium climbing angles, and well, I was gaining speed, but then it started dropping. Okay. Oh, also, yeah, it rolls pretty quickly. Although I remember it rolling a lot faster before the last time I used it, which was like right after 1.3 came out, I think, or 1.31. I mean, whatever patch it is right now that they're just making little modifications to. Anyway, yeah, this Fw-190 actually it turns better, but then again, I think I've got some upgrades for it as well. I think I've got a new engine on it. I'm not sure if I have the polished fuselage or not. Okay. I forgot what the cockpits in these things are like. They're a big improvement over the Fw-190 cockpits, which have, like, pretty much no visibility. Yeah, I can start diving now. Come on. Get closer to the ground! I want to hit him with my sword! There we go. Yeah, so as you can see, the cannons are wing-mounted, but they're close to the nose. So, I mean, gun convergence isn't going to matter that much. And when I'm pulling up out of a dive, this thing does not lose that much speed when climbing, and it climbs fairly quickly. Right. I'm not even going to bother to show you how to land, because that'll just take time and be annoying. So, back to hangar. I'm also going to turn this over, because I can't hear myself talk when I'm having the propeller and engine in my ear. I can't hear myself talk, so I might be yelling into the mic, and I might not even realize it. So, no, I don't want to quit. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, time for the F8 test flight. Oh, also, this is going to be in 2 parts. This one's just me testing them out, and then the next part will be the actual battle I do in them, which probably isn't going to turn out very well because, honestly, I suck in Fw-190s. I am much better in Fw-109s. Anyway. Alright. Yeah. I wish I could actually get out of my plane and walk around and go in the tents. That would be neat. Anyway. It said this thing has a fairly long takeoff run, so let's see if that's actually true. Well, my tail's off the ground, and now I'm off the ground. From what I can tell, that was a little bit longer than the A5s, and my engine is overheating already. I can't imagine I'm going to have fun with this thing. And yet again, wing-mounted cannons. MGs in the nose. Except this time I think they're 13mm MGs. And at low speeds, this thing turns like a brick. And because I don't have an upgraded engine, it takes forever to gain speed. Like, see, right now I'm flying practically level. And it's just agonizingly slow of how I'm gaining speed. Oh boy, I don't think I'm gonna like this Fw-190. Yep, even when I'm climbing out of a dive, it loses a lot of speed. But like I said, I have no upgrades for these things, because I literally just bought them right before I started this video. Well, at least I was able to climb higher. So, yeah, it's okay. I suppose. Also, I'm not much of an Fw-190 person. In fact, I'm just not much of a plane person. I'm more of a tank kind of guy. So, I mean, I'm not that knowledgeable about planes, but I still know a little bit. I know enough to get me by if I were to take a test or something. But from what I understand is that Fw-190s were like, they were basically the F-15s of their day without jets. Or guided missiles. But, yeah. Oh, 400 kilometers an hour is still considered a low speed for this thing. And it turns like a brick still. Okay. But hey, at least it rolls well, so I'm not really going to have that much trouble keeping the nose pointed toward the target if he's not turning. Or if they turn just as slow as I do. It also bleeds off a lot of speed while it's turning, even with raised flaps. Anyway. Yes. Okay, now it's time for the D-13, which everyone loves to hate, because they are supposedly OP, even though I would tend to disagree. I mean, yes, they are OP in head-on passes. That's why you don't get in head-on passes with them. Okay, this thing's supposed to have a shorter takeoff run, I think. Yeah, it's got a pretty short takeoff run. It's also supposedly got a better turn rate, which I haven't used enough Fw-190s yet to actually know if that's true or not. Anyway. No, not okay. I might do some battle or historical battle videos eventually. I don't know. I'm not very good at them. I honestly get shot down within the first couple of minutes in them. And I mean, it's not like I'm bad at leading targets, because I'm actually pretty good. The only problem is, I'm not quite used to the way you fly in them. I'd probably do it better with my joystick, but I've not been keen on testing it. Yep, that's right. I forgot how well this thing rolls. Yep. It rolls like you're making a burrito. Well, yes, it does turn better, even at low speeds. I mean, I'm definitely not going to be beating a biplane in turn fights, but I'm also not going to be seeing biplanes unless the match is not full and we end up doing, like, getting a team of half bots. Anyway. The Red Bull's getting to me. Oh, also, this thing has no MGs, so it's just cannons. Also, if you're wondering how I'm firing them separately, it's because I've got my MGs set to my mouse button 1 and cannons set to 2. I've just found that easier to do because it lets me choose what I want to shoot at someone with without running out of all my ammo at once. This thing does climb well, though. Even at a steep dive angle without poor emergency power, I still don't bleed off that much speed. Because as you might be able to see, I've got this at half quality. It's actually bleeding off only 2 kilometers an hour every half second. Which isn't that bad, I guess. Anyway, I did manage to get higher than the F8 without or emergency power on for half of the time. Although, yes, this thing is very much a high-altitude fighter. And a high-speed fighter. It doesn't really turn well at low speeds at low altitude. I mean, I'm not exactly that low, but I'm still lower than this plane likes to be. Also, if you're wondering what I consider to be low, medium, and high speeds, I consider low speeds to be anywhere from 250 to 350. Medium speed is 400 to 500, and high speed is 550 to, well, 550 and anywhere after. I'm sure that's pretty much how everyone sees it as well. Okay. Back to hangar. I don't know if I should go ahead and also try out the D-12, because, I mean, this plane and the D-12 are really the exact same. So, yeah, I'm just going to go straight to the Ta-152. No, not Fleet. I know that's not in the game yet. Nor will I be playing it, because I hate boats. Although I will be playing the hell out of the tanks. But yeah, I actually like the way this thing looks. I mean, it's got bigger wings. And I don't know. I just like the way it looks. Like, see, Fw-190 long nose anyway. It's pretty much the same exact fuselage. But the wings are short and stubby on Fw-190s. These things are long and thin. I'm not exactly that sure about what that would do for aerodynamics. I think it makes it handle a little bit better. Also, the wings on this thing remind me a little bit of a Stuka, because I mean it's got sort of a gull wing, but not really. It still looks evil when it's coming straight at you. Anyway. Test flight. Okay. I think this thing's only got cannons as well. I think. We'll find out. Okay. Engage takeoff flaps. Yep. Ridiculously short takeoff run. Alright, and considering this thing is apparently awesome at really high altitudes, let's try and climb to at least 4,500 meters, huh? I mean, yeah, I'm gonna try and, like, you know, gain a lot of speed before I do that, but, you know, let's just fly straight for a while still gaining altitude and speed, and let's have a conversation. I don't know what about, but let's try and have a conversation. So, what's your favorite plane in this game so far, and why? Is it because of the amount of guns? Is it because of how fast it goes? Is it because of how fast it climbs? Or how fast it doesn't climb and you're a low altitude fighter? Or is it just because you like the way it looks? Which is a really shitty thing to judge a plane on, in my opinion, but hey, I am in no position to judge. I mean, in World of Tanks, I got the Tiger because I like Tigers, and in fact, they're actually my favorite tank ever built. And while I do agree with the fact that I don't think the Tiger lives up to its glory in the game, it's still a damn good tank. And it's actually my favorite tank in that game. And I usually do really well with it, even in Tier 9 matches. Even back when they could get in Tier 10 matches, I still did pretty good. Assuming I got to their rear and sides. But still, I do think it's a little bit... I do think they could improve the way the armor on it works a little bit more. I mean, I realize that it's mostly flat armor. I mean, there is some slight angling on it. Even on that front plate, it's got about an 80-degree slope, I think. So, I mean, it's not like it's... I don't know. I know it's supposed to absorb shots, but I think it absorbs them a little bit. It doesn't absorb them well enough. Anyway. Well, it's about to tell me that, I need to go back. I need to stop climbing so high, I'm losing speed. I don't want to lose speed. Still losing speed. And there we go. I'm not losing speed anymore. Anyway. And then my second favorite tank in World of Tanks is the E-100. I love that tank. I absolutely love it. I mean, yes, the gun on it is not that great. But if you get around to someone's side, you'll be damned if you bounce. I mean, even sometimes on some of the frontal armor on some of the Tier 9 and 10 tanks, you'll be damned if you bounce. If you know where to shoot, anyway. Like, my favorite place to shoot on an M103 or a T110 or something. For the M103, it's right in the turret seam. Because what'll happen is, you'll basically shoot your shot into there. It might bounce off the armor, but it'll go right up into the gun and break their gun, as well as do damage. So you're pretty much socking them right in the chin. Okay, yep, we're high enough. Now we just need to level out a little bit and gain speed faster. Go on. Let's go. You were a beast historically. Let's go faster. Alright, I think it's safe to try and roll without putting the nose all over the place. So let's try it. Well, that's interesting. It doesn't quite roll as well as I anticipated for an Fw-190 type craft. But then again, like I said before, its rings are bigger. Let's see if it actually turns as well as it says. Yes, it does. Although, it, still not really going to be winning any turn fights. And yeah, there's no machine guns. There's only cannons. Yep. 2 in the wings, 1 in the nose. So yeah, gun convergence isn't really going to do that much for you, so I mean, you know, set it at whatever you like for these things. Anyway, yeah, back to hangar, and once I find a match that's suitable to my preferences, I will start the other video. Yes, if I find one that I don't like, I'm just going to leave and find another one. I know, I'm that guy, but you know, I want to try and show these planes what they can do. Because I honestly don't even know either, except for the A5 and the D13. I usually do fairly well in the A5, and I do okay in the D13. I mean, for the D13, it's more like if I'm fighting someone and they don't know I'm there at all, then I kill them rather quickly. But if they realize I'm there and start turning, well, I just pull out and gain altitude again and try and boom and zoom someone else. That's actually my favorite tactic in these German planes. In fact, that's what you should be doing, is boom and zooming. Fight someone on your own terms. Oh, and don't shoot until they're close. Because, I mean, with a lot of the German planes, their guns aren't exactly high velocity, especially with the 30mm cannons. They aren't. Their projectiles do not move very quickly at all. So, yeah, you just don't shoot until you're close. Like Eric Hartman would say, until your sight is black with the enemy, do not fire. Because other than that, it's just a waste of ammo. Because the 30mm cannons, they just... it's like throwing baseballs at someone. Or at a moving vehicle. You really gotta lead it to have it hit. That's actually a pretty good analogy. It's the baseball guns. It's like a potato gun, except they shoot baseballs. Anyway, I'll be back in the next video.